Welcome back to Boredom Seated. I'm Michael,
And I'm John.
and continuing our Dark Sun series of videos, we are now examining the classes of Dark Sun. Now, at the time, second edition was running at this point, 1991. Classes were basically divided into rather broad categories: rogue, warrior, priest, and wizard, for the most part. In Dark Sun, they expanded and changed some of them. Let's start with the rogue. Rogue was divided into the thief and the bard. The thief basically remains unchanged. Backstabber, trap, uh, uh, debugger, stealth, everything like that. Backstab, everything like that. The bard, however, in Athas is completely different. Not that it doesn't have some roguish skills, but and it was they were still entertainers, but they were the assassins of Athas. They're the ones who mastered poisons and got progressively better and better poisons. Now, next will be the warrior. The warrior
Well,
is
let's
broken up into three
let's
kinds.
let's add that the rogue later on also got the traitor type of class, who are really role-playing crazy people.
That's for
So
it.
if you like,
I was disagreed about even having a trader because that was just basically role playing more than anything else.
yeah,
But
yeah, you're a merchant basically.
true.
It's like
By the time
what is
the yeah,
that?
one of the supplements was a trader um, uh, and that yes, that did introduce that class. Then all right, when we warriors. Now
Warriors.
warriors in this one, the fighter basically is unchanged from basic Dungeons and Dragons, but warriors were now more like generals and leaders. As they grew more powerful and more experienced, men at arms flocked to them. So by the time they were 20th level, they had quite a following, quite a war band. And this, of course, allowed Dark Sun to utilize the battle system, which was one of the supplements on how to conduct warfare on a mass scale, mass combat in D&D back in the day. Then you've got the Ranger, pretty much unchanged from the base book. However, the Ranger in this case, in Dark Sun, attracted animalistic monsters and followers and monstrous humanoids. They're at high enough levels you could get giants to be your followers, so that's some serious backup. Finally, the special twist for Dark Sun is the Gladiator. This is a new class. They even had their own Gladiator source book, the handbook, which was Dark Sun. It had the wonderful moniker Dark Sun. And the gladiator differs from the fighter because it was a one-on-one type of person, the star of the arena, and had the ability to specialize in multiple weapons and to optimize their armor better than anybody else. Next comes the priest. We'll start with one. We'll start with your favorite, the Templar. You tell
A
them about the
Templar.
Templar.
A Templar. That is the priest and basically politician rolled into one. These guys served the Sorcerer King. They did not, since there is no gods in Athos, they worshipped kinda the Sorcerer King. The Sorcerer King, because of the transformation into a Sorcerer King by something called the Dark Lens and the Champions of Rajat, which we'll cover later on in the lore, um, able to open up living fortresses into the elemental planes and become a conduit of elemental power. They can't use it themselves, the Sorcerer Kings, but they can give it to their followers. So it's very similar to a priest and a god. They made it similar to that way. The
Yes.
Templar then did all the administrative work of the city-state. They gained special, and this was a PC available class. You can get powers like administrative powers like, hey, I can condemn a slave to death at third level. I
I
can
can accuse you, and you that's it. You're done.
I can accuse a nobleman in later levels, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And they get a lot more priest powers than the normal priests and clerics did. They
Yeah.
gained all the elements except for the power elementals and all access to the sphere of the cosmos.
Yeah.
And
We'll get into that a bit more
yes,
our
in
discussion.
other magic, but
But yeah.
they had quite a bit, but there was no advanced being type of thing.
Yeah.
At 20th level, that's where they
Yeah.
ended.
They
They're,
were they
they
were they were a lot more versatile than the
yes.
beasts. Which, going onto that tangent, off that tangent, back into this, the cleric, the clerics in this world, there are no gods in Dark Sun, and the clerics instead worshipped the four elements. At least in the basic box set, there were only four elemental clerics. Later on, they introduced four para elemental uh, clerics, but in the first box set, there were four, and they were a lot more martial in this one. They were definitely willing to throw down a bit more than typical clerics in D&D. And when you look at the various spheres that they had access to, um, that's a number of spells that they had access to that were of a certain element. They were definitely more combative than other worlds clerics. Then finally, there's the druid. The druid had a guarded land, a special geographic feature like an oasis or a mountainside or whatever else, even a piece of desert that they guarded, and they allied with. Their power came directly from that land, the spirit of the land, and they too had They could also polymorph themselves or shape change as a class feature. Finally, oh no, not finally yet. Hold on. We'll go right to the psionicist as well. The psionicist, well, that's in a world full of psychic powers. There's always going to be someone who's going to be specializing in them. And second edition Psionicist, the Psionic Handbook, which you had to have in order to play Dark Sun, that was really really a mixed bag. Some of the powers were absolutely awesome, and others were like, why is this in the same category as these awesome powers? But you had to tread carefully, but you could definitely be one of the most versatile and powerful characters just being a psionicist.
And now they added more powers in Dragon Kings, and then they created a brand new supplement called The Will and the Way, which had tons of new powers and really made the Psionist like really a powerhouse type character.
Oh, also, in addition to regular magic items, you had also psionic items as well. So, yeah. Only in Dark Sun. And finally, we'll leave the best for last. The Wizard class. In other words, the Defiler and the Preserver. Almost think Jedi in this case. Because the Preserver, we'll start with the Preserver. The Preserver drew their powers from life. Plant life specifically, but also animal life if they want to get powerful enough. But unlike the Defiler, the Preserver takes a small amount from a large number of creatures, so not to kill them. The Defiler doesn't care. It's all about power for them, and they kill whatever is within the radius of their spell. In terms of, there's a certain the more powerful the spell per level, the larger the radius of their area of defilement, and it turns everything into ash. And when they get more powerful, much higher levels, they start not just killing plants, but they also start killing people.
Now, there's a reason for them doing that. So you'd say, hey, why don't they just preserve and why defile? It's because the progression of levels is much quicker for the defile. It's faster.
They definitely made an in-game reason for it, other than not fluff. They just like, guess what? If you defile, you'll advance much faster than everybody. Well, much faster than Preserver. Here's the problem also with defiling as well. Most of the other classes hate you. First of all, the Sorcerer Kings don't like competition, so the Templars will try and kill you, or arrest you at the very least.
Unless you serve the Sorcerer King.
Exactly. The Clerics, they hate you. The Druids, they definitely hate you. And the Preservers are your arch nemesis. They also hate you. So you got a lot of classes against you.
And most common magic.
Most common folk will think of you, treat you as if you were a witch. They'll do the same thing for Preservers. They don't like Preservers much either. But at least the Druids and the Clerics won't attack you on sight. If you're a Preserver, that is.
Now, so for the Wizard, for the Preservers, there is a group called the Veiled Alliance that helps them move around and secret group. The Psionists also have a group, but they're only for the 21st level and higher branch
They're
called the
elitist. They're elitist snobs. That's what they
very
are.
elitist,
Join us or die, pretty much.
basically.
Yeah.
That will probably come in a future
Video.
video that what exactly those two organizations do, but they are pretty strong organizations. The Order more than the Veiled Alliance, obviously.
Well, yeah.
And you don't want to be hunted down by either of them or a Sorcerer King. It's a very tough thing in a world that's very tough to live in.
Yeah. The Veiled Alliance is almost like also serves as not just as a haven, but also as a way of recruiting preservers to. They actually are sort of like an underground resistance as well, a resistance group to the Sorcerer Kings. Although they didn't have to do anything because of later reasons.
Now,
But
all these character classes can all reach, other than the Templar, can reach 30th level. They have the experience tables and all the powers that they gain, but only four of them, I should say four of them, can go into advanced being progression, where it's kind of like the true epic, where you transform your entire body into something else. The clerics can become elementals, the druids can become spirits of the lands, the preservers to an evasion, which looks like a big moth, and the defilers to the dragon, which is what the Dragon Kings are all about.
one of the aspects of Dark Sun that I always enjoyed, especially when you got the Dragon King's source book, was it had a plan past 20th level, from 20th to 30th level, for gameplay on an epic scale. So every single class got, except for the Templar, of course, got more powerful, got not just more levels or whatever else, but they actually had a role-playing reason to go beyond 20th level. I mean, when you think about it, once you hit around 18, 19, 20th level, in most classes, you're like, okay, I got enough money and treasure, I should retire now, you know? But fighters could become literally generals that can maybe have mercenary armies working for the Sorcerer King, or perhaps they feel like they can topple a Sorcerer King or take over and make their own kingdoms. Rangers had almost a literal army of monsters next following them. Gladiators, not so much, but they could just keep continuing the champion of champions. Rogues could become crime bosses. Bards could be the head of their own circus of death and entertainment, or maybe the leader of Assassin's Guild.
Psionists better be neutral or get hunted down by the Order, and you must join the Order. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You must be neutral, and you must join the Order at the 21st level.
Yeah, and all the spell casting classes, except for the Templar, if they dual classed into the Psionists, they can then proceed on their path to basically immortality. I think all four of the ones that advanced beings became immortal as soon as you started on the road. It's just the amount of the stages it's a hellacious amount of experience to get to get per level, and both the Evagian and the Dragon for the Preserver and the Defiler respectively, they had a tremendous number of material requirements. They had to basically sacrifice a king's ransom for a lot of their levels and get extra planar allies and all sorts of weird things.
And even for the dragons, they had to actually kill thousands of hit dice just
they were. It was a very difficult path, but considering the power they got, it gave the players motivation to keep going beyond a certain point. And certainly was interesting for a dungeon master to craft levels at that level. But that's part of the fun.
And Mike definitely did that one, and I did reach 2020 on the Defiler Psionist.
You did.
Half elf, which they allowed to become unlimited, so I took the half elf route.
Also, I remember you also had to make a system. Remember the system shock rolls?
Yes, you could die.
Physically transform. You can actually die before you got a chance to achieve your.
You had to fashion your orb and swallow it and all this stuff. Yeah. The Evagian had their different stuff. We never went into that. We were right there, and then we stopped playing because of real life.
Well, that is the overview of the classes of Dark Sun for 2nd edition. Now next time we'll go into the magic and psionics. So stay tuned for that video. And as always,
that like button and subscribe. As always.
And hit the notification button if you like this video. Thank you. Have a great day.